is my video for my root structure and development quiz for botany. And the first question is to label a lateral sectioned root. And so basically it just means label and name the meristems of the root, and the root is going to be cut long ways down. So this is what this is supposed to be showing. So the first meristem would be the protoderm, which is the outside layer of the root that protects it. This contains the epidermis. And then there's not that one. And then there's ground meristem, which is this one right here. This one basically surrounds the procambium and contains the cortex of the root. And then we have the procambium. It's the middle, is the center of the center of the root. And the second part of the first question is, what are the two major functions of roots? So there's absorption and there's anchorage. Anchorage basically is where like roots are basically spread out on the inside of the ground, so much so that the plant won't get ripped out, or it'll like be able to properly grow straight up and grow tall. And then there's absorption, which the roots, the more they spread out, or just the roots in general, they absorb water and nutrients from that part and to feed the plant basically after basically to keep the plant alive. All right, and the second question will require me to label, have to move a little, require me to label and name everything on this picture. So basically, this is a monocot root. Cut. I forget what cut this one was, but it's different from this one. It's the opposite one of this one. So basically, this is a monocot root. You can tell because there is no X in the middle of the root, and there's just a bunch of like little circles that's like little circles that form a big circle around the middle. All right, time to label. Okay, so here is the excelum. This basically moves water in and out. Well, moves water throughout the plant. And then there's the phloem, which is in between, right here in between the excelums. This basically helps move food throughout the plant body. And here's the endodermis. This is serves as protection. It serves as protection of the inside, so like the middle. Then we have the cortex, which basically the cortex basically does everything that the epidermis and exodermis don't do. Which will bring me to the epidermis and exodermis. The epidermis, basically, that's the very outer layer of the root that protects it. It's like the first primary defense. It's the first thing that protects the root. And then we have the exodermis, which is another layer on top that also serves as protection. And then, not to forget, the middle, which is the pith. This is the center of the root. And here we have the lateral root. This is a lateral root, and it grows from the pericycle. So right here, it starts right here. And the function of the lateral root, basically, the function of the lateral root is to create more area and to create more structures underneath the ground to help with anchorage and to to absorb more water and nutrients from the ground. It basically just makes it a lot. It basically helps the root cover a lot more ground. And here there's an apical meristem at the very tip. I kind of circled it and I circled it, but I covered up I circled it too thick. So there's the apical meristem at the very tip. or close to it, because of the very tip that's the root cap. And yeah, that's my answer for the second question. And I believe this one is for the third question. This right here. And this is also a monocot root. You can tell, again, from the little circles that make one big circle around the pith. In this one, we have, again, the epidermis, which stated before protects the root. And it's part of the protoderm, meristem. And then we have the exodermis, the cortex, and endodermis, which were named and described before. The exodermis basically is the second layer of protection, kind of like the epidermis, but it's just right underneath it. And then we have the cortex, which does everything that epidermis and exodermis don't do. And then we have the endodermis, the layer of protection around the pith, around the middle. These all belong to the ground tissue meristem, along with the pith. The pith is also part of that. And then we have the pericycle. Like I said before, pericycle is basically just the area that's underneath the endodermis. And then we have the xylem here, these little circles right here. They're kind of bigger than these circles out here. So these little circles right here. I don't know if you can see that properly. These little circles right here are big circles. Basically, like stated before in question 2, these help water travel throughout the plant, and same with the phloem. This which is still in between the xylem. This helps food travel throughout the plant. And these all belong to the procambium. All right, time for this one. Which was not here. These are root hairs. These little guys right here at the very outside of the root. The root hairs basically function as almost exactly the same as the lateral root, but obviously a little different. They're smaller, and they don't really require that much growth. Like they don't come from the inside. So the root hairs, they basically cover air. They help the plant cover a larger a larger area, and it helps with the anchorage of the plant to stay in the ground, and it helps with covering more ground to absorb more water and nutrients. All right, and that's what root hairs do. And then on the back, I have 2 tables. I don't know if you can see them both. Oh, yes, you can. All right. So this one is the third question. Or, wait. I think that was my third question. Oh, sorry. This was my third question. This was my third question. This is my fourth question. And the last question is compare and contrast primary and secondary meristems. Also, what does a secondary meristem do, we think? So, first let's tackle the secondary meristem and the tissue functions. So, here we have, in the secondary meristem, we have the vascular cambium. And this one is just like the procambium in a little bit, except, it's kind of like the procambium up here. It has xylem and phloem, like xylem and phloem, but they're secondary. They do the same thing on both. But in secondary growth, these two can basically crush the primary versions of themselves to create functional vascular tissue. And then here we have the cork cambium. This one is in the video. My computer ran out of space, so it cut that video short. I cleared up some space, and now time for the second part. And here we have the cork cambium, the periderm, which contains the periderm, which protects the external plant organ, which kind of like epidermis, right? Except it's better. It just protects better than the epidermis. And that's secondary growth, right? And there's some similarities between the two is that they both contain different types of meristems. And the difference in that regard is that secondary growth has only two meristems, and primary growth has 3. And other similarities, they both have excelum and phloem. Yeah. And I think I already highlighted the differences in the other part of the video. So yeah, that is my answer for the 4th question, which is my last question. Thank you very much. Everything that was said in this video was from the root structure and development lecture. Thank you.